Wake. Lock in. Win. How to create a daily ritual for unstoppable progress. The 3-step daily ritual that changes everything. The alarm goes off. Before your feet hit the floor, stress hits first. A flood of emails, arguments, and breaking news hijack your focus. You're already reacting, already behind, before the day even begins. Sound familiar? For most, this is daily life. We wake up and surrender to chaos. But what if you could flip the script? What if the first hour of your day put you in control, energized, focused, and ahead? What if a simple ritual could build daily momentum and long-term progress? This isn't a motivational theory. It's neuroscience, systems, and consistency. The first hour is the rudder of your day. Steer it right, and everything else follows. A 3-phase ritual designed to transform scattered mornings into powerful ones. Wake. Prime your mind and body. Lock in. Focus deeply on what matters most. Win. Acknowledge your progress and reinforce the habit. This isn't about willpower. It's about design. And with consistency, it becomes effortless. Your new life doesn't begin next year, it begins tomorrow morning. Are you ready to wake? Chapter 1. Wake, rise with purpose. The first battle of the day is not fought in the boardroom, the classroom, or the gym. It is fought in the quiet darkness of your bedroom, in the first 5 seconds after your alarm goes off. And how you fight it determines the trajectory of your entire day. Consider 2 paths. Path A, the route of chaos. The alarm shrieks. You groan, blindly slapping the snooze button. A truce for 9 minutes. The alarm returns, this time more insistent. You surrender, rolling over to grab your phone. Its cold, blue light floods your vision. Your thumb instinctively opens a portal to the world's anxieties. 17 new emails, a controversial news headline, a curated reel of someone else's perfect life. A jolt of cortisol, a pang of comparison. You finally drag yourself out of bed, already feeling behind, stressed, and mentally cluttered. Your morning becomes a frantic rush, a desperate attempt to catch up to a day that started without your permission. Path B, the path of purpose. The alarm sounds, perhaps a gentle chime. Before your mind can protest, you use the momentum to swing your feet to the floor. You are upright. That's the first win. Your phone is across the room, irrelevant for now. Your attention is not for sale. Instead of diving into a digital world, you turn inward. You take a sip of the water you placed by your bed the night before. You take a single, deep, conscious breath. In the stillness, you have claimed the first minutes of the day as your own. You are not reacting, you are acting. You are starting from a place of calm, intention, and control. Every chapter in this book rests on the outcome of this initial choice. The energy you will bring to your work, the focus you will apply to your goals, and the wins you will accumulate all begin here. The greatest threat to this purposeful start is the device you trust the most, your smartphone. It is a portal of infinite distraction disguised as a tool of connection. Therefore, the first rule of rising with purpose is non-negotiable. Your phone does not get the first moments of your conscious mind. Prepare the night before. Charge it across the room. Buy a cheap alarm clock. Do whatever it takes to win this first, critical battle. The Wake Trinity: hydrate, oxygenate, motivate. A powerful morning ritual doesn't need to be complex. In fact, the simpler it is, the more likely you are to stick with it. We can distill an effective, wake, routine into 3 fundamental actions, a trinity of purpose that takes less than 20 minutes, but changes everything that follows. 1. Hydrate, kickstart your engine. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is naturally dehydrated. Your brain, which is approximately 75% water, feels this deficit acutely. Brain fog, sluggishness, and low energy are often just symptoms of mild dehydration. The fastest, simplest way to signal to your body and brain that the day has begun is to give them the one thing they desperately need: water. Before coffee, before tea, before anything else, drink a full glass of water. This simple act rehydrates your system, flushes out toxins, and kickstarts your metabolism. It's the equivalent of turning the key in your ignition. The action: place a glass of water on your nightstand before you go to sleep. Make drinking it the very first thing you do when your feet hit the floor. 2. Oxygenate, clear the fog. While you sleep, your breathing becomes slower and more shallow. To shift from a state of rest to a state of alert readiness, you need to deliberately increase your oxygen intake. More oxygen in your bloodstream leads to increased energy, improved focus, and a reduction in cortisol, the primary stress hormone. This isn't about a grueling workout, it's about a conscious act of enlivening your body. The action, immediately after hydrating, takes 60 seconds to oxygenate. This could be as simple as 5 deep, diaphragmatic belly breaths. It could be 2 minutes of light stretching, reaching for the sky, touching your toes. Or it could be opening a window and breathing in the fresh morning air. You are consciously clearing the cobwebs and signaling to every cell in your body that it's time to perform. 3. Motivate, set your rudder. With your body activated, it's time to align your mind. This is the most crucial step. This is where you proactively choose your emotional state and your focus for the day before the world chooses them for you. You are setting your mental rudder in a direction of your choosing. This is not about complex strategic planning. It's about a simple, powerful moment of intention. The action: spend 3 to 5 minutes on a single, focusing practice. This could be a gratitude exercise, mentally or in a journal. List 3 specific things you are grateful for. It could be 2 minutes of mindfulness meditation. Or it could be simply reviewing your number 1 priority for the day, visualizing yourself completing it successfully. You are priming your mind for positivity and purpose. Design your custom, wake, ritual. There is no single, perfect, morning routine. The perfect routine is the one you will actually do. Your goal is to design a short, compelling sequence that you look forward to, one that serves your specific needs. Use the hydrate, oxygenate, motivate framework as your blueprint and build your own ritual from the menu below. Start small. Aim for a 15 to 20 minute routine to begin. Remember, consistency beats intensity. The Wake Ritual Builder. Choose one option from each category to build your initial ritual. 1. Hydrate 1 to 2 minutes. Drink a glass of cold water. Drink a glass of room temperature water with a squeeze of lemon. Drink a warm cup of herbal tea, prepared the night before in a thermos. 2. Oxygenate 2 to 8 minutes. 5 to 10 deep belly breaths while sitting or standing. 5 minutes of dynamic stretching, e.g., neck rolls, arm circles, cat-cow pose. 20 jumping jacks or high knees to get the heart rate up. A 5-minute walk outside, if possible. 3. Motivate 5 to 10 minutes. Gratitude. Write down 3 specific things you are thankful for. Meditation. Use a guided meditation app or simply sit in silence for 5 minutes. Intention setting. Write down your number 1 priority for the day and 1 sentence on why it's important. Reading. Read 1 page from an inspiring or philosophical book. Affirmation. State a personal mantra out loud, e.g., I am focused, calm, and in control. Your first mission, tonight, before you go to sleep, design your ritual for tomorrow. Write it on a piece of paper and place it next to your alarm clock. Commit to this small sequence. Your journey to unstoppable progress begins with this single, intentional act. Slaying the giants, snooze and the zombie scroll. Your path to a purposeful morning has 2 primary adversaries. They are giants of habit, and they must be slain without mercy. Giant 1, the snooze button. The snooze button is the most insidious enemy of intention. It feels harmless, like a small gift of extra rest. It is not. Every time you hit snooze, you are starting your day by breaking a promise to yourself. You are telling your subconscious mind that your word is not law. You are practicing failure before you even get out of bed. Worse, the fragmented, low-quality sleep you get in those 9-minute intervals leaves you groggier than if you had just gotten up in the first place. How to slay it. The 5-second rule. The moment your alarm goes off, begin counting down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. On. Go. You must physically move. Swing your legs out of bed. Stand up. The physiological act of moving will override your brain's desire to stay at rest. Move your alarm. Place your alarm clock or phone across the room. This forces you to get out of bed to silence it. Once you are standing, you have already won half the battle. Make waking up rewarding. Link getting up immediately to something you genuinely enjoy. The aroma of coffee brewing on a timer, your favorite podcast, or 5 minutes of quiet reading time. Giant 2. The zombie scroll. The second giant is the mindless morning scroll through your phone. This habit hijacks your wake state. Instead of priming your mind for purpose, you are marinating it in a stew of outrage, comparison, anxiety, and distraction. Social media, news feeds, and email are engineered to give you unpredictable dopamine hits, addicting you to a state of shallow reactivity. How to slay it. The ritual first rule. This is the golden rule. You are not allowed to check your phone for any social media, news, or email until your wake ritual is 100% complete. No exceptions. This is a sacred, protected block of time. Create a dumb phone. For the morning, use your phone settings to your advantage. Set up a focus or do not disturb mode that activates overnight and stays on until, say, 8 a.m. Allow calls from key contacts, but block all notifications from apps. Your phone remains a tool, not a temptation. Slaying these two giants is not a matter of willpower. It is a matter of strategy and environment design. Set yourself up for victory the night before. The first win of the day. Imagine the shift. Instead of being dragged into consciousness by a screaming alarm and a wave of digital demands, you now rise on your own terms. You stand. You hydrate, feeling a cool wave of energy spread through you. You oxygenate, feeling the last remnants of sleep fog evaporate with each deep breath. You motivate, aligning your mind with gratitude and a clear, singular purpose for the day ahead. You have completed your wake ritual. It's barely 6:30 a.m., and you have already achieved the most important victory of the day. You have won the battle for your own attention. You have transformed the first moments of your day from a source of chaos into a wellspring of clarity. This is more than just a pleasant start. This is the essential foundation for the next phase of our framework. The calm energy, the sharp focus, and the powerful intention you have just cultivated are the precise fuel required for the deep, meaningful work to come. You haven't just woken up your body, you have primed your mind for peak performance. You didn't stumble into your day, you launched into it. You have risen with purpose. You have won the first battle. Now you are armed with clarity and ready to do the work that truly matters. It's time to lock in. Chapter 2. Lock in, focus on what matters most. You've risen with purpose. You have successfully completed your wake ritual, creating a reservoir of pristine energy and clarity. You are calm, hydrated, and aligned with your intention for the day. This feeling is precious. It's also fleeting if not immediately channeled. Now, where do you point this powerful beam of focus? The modern world will gladly answer for you. It will pull you toward 100 different tasks of varying importance. The ding of a new email, the buzz of a chat notification, the quick question from a colleague, the endless scroll of a news feed. This is the siren song of shallow work, and its greatest deception is the myth of multitasking. We tell ourselves that juggling 5 things at once is a sign of productivity. It is not. It is a sign of a fragmented mind. Neurologically, your brain cannot focus on 2 cognitive tasks simultaneously. What it actually does is switch rapidly between them, and each switch comes with a cost. This cost is a concept known as attention residue. When you switch from writing a report, task A, to answering an email, task B, a part of your cognitive bandwidth remains stuck on task A. When you switch back, residue from task B lingers. Constant switching means you are never operating at full capacity. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a fire hose while a dozen small leaks are draining it from the bottom. You're exerting massive effort for minimal results. The lock-in phase is the antidote. It is a declaration of war against the shallow. It is the conscious decision to go deep, to single task, and to pour the entirety of your morning clarity into the one activity that will create the most significant results. This is where you stop juggling and start building. In the next 60 to 90 minutes, you will make more tangible progress than most people make in an entire reactive workday. Identifying your quarry, the most important task, MIT. A focused hour is worthless if it's spent on the wrong thing. Before you can lock in, you must know what you're locking in on. This requires identifying your most important task, MIT. The MIT is not just another item on your to-do list. It is the task that, if you accomplish it, will create a domino effect, making other tasks either easier or irrelevant. It is the keystone that holds the arch of your day together. Crucially, the time to identify your MIT is not in the morning when you are fresh. The decision should be made the night before, as the final part of your workday or evening routine. This prevents you from wasting precious morning energy on decision-making. You should wake up already knowing your target. To find your MIT, ask yourself these clarifying questions. The impact question. Which one task, if completed today, will bring me the most significant progress toward my biggest goal? The eat the frog question. What is the task I am most likely to procrastinate on, even though I know it's important for my long-term success? This is your frog, eat it first, and the rest of the day is easy. The relief question. What task, if I finished it, would give me the greatest sense of relief and accomplishment? Be ruthless in your selection. You are not creating a wish list. You are choosing one quarry. The power of the lock-in comes from its singularity of purpose. A magnifying glass can only start a fire when it holds perfectly still, concentrating the sun's rays on a single point. Your MIT is that point. Write it down on a sticky note or a piece of paper. Make it visible. Tomorrow morning, when you finish your wake ritual, you will not have to think. You will simply have to execute. Building the fortress of focus. Your attention is a valuable resource under constant assault. To protect it during your lock-in session, you must become an architect of an impenetrable fortress. This isn't about willpower. It's about making distractions impossible from the outset. Before you begin your session, run through this pre-flight checklist. 1. The digital fortress. Annihilate digital distractions. This is where most battles are lost. Seal the gates completely. The phone, do not put it on silent. Do not put it face down on your desk. Place it in another room. The mere physical presence of your phone has been shown to reduce cognitive capacity. Remove it from your environment entirely. The computer, close every tab, application, and window that is not essential for your MIT. That means no email, no chat apps, no news sites, no social media. If you need the internet, use a website blocking application like Freedom, Cold Turkey, or Rescue Time to block your specific trigger sites for the duration of your session. Notifications, turn them all off. Every single one. No banners, no sounds, no red badges. Your computer is now a single-purpose tool, not a portal for the world's demands. 2. The physical fortress. Engineer your environment. Your physical space signals your mental state. Dedicated space. Find a consistent spot for your lock-in. This trains your brain to associate that location with deep work. Clear your desk. A cluttered desk creates a cluttered mind. Remove everything that is not directly related to your MIT. All you should see are the tools you need to execute. Signal to others. If you are not alone, create a clear signal that you cannot be disturbed. A closed door is the most effective. If that's not possible, putting on headphones, even with no music, is a universal sign for do not disturb. Communicate your plan. For the next 75 minutes, I'm in a deep focus session and can't be interrupted unless it's a true emergency. 3. The mental fortress. Prime your mind. Set a timer. Decide on the length of your session. 60, 75, or 90 minutes are great starting points, and set a visible timer. This creates a finite container for your work, which paradoxically makes it easier to start and maintain focus. The distraction pad. Keep a notepad or a simple text file open. When an unrelated thought or task inevitably pops into your head. I need to buy milk. I must email Susan. Don't fight it. Quickly jot it down on the pad and immediately return to your MIT. This captures the thought without derailing your session. With your fortress built, you are now ready. Start the timer. Begin. Let me tell you about Sarah. Not the Sarah from the last chapter. You're not together anymore, remember? I'm talking about the Sarah you're going to meet at a work conference next year. She's brilliant, ambitious, driven. You'll bond over your shared commitment to excellence, your mutual understanding that success requires sacrifice. You'll date for 3 years. And then one Sunday morning, she'll look at you over coffee and say, "We never talk about the future. Not the real future, kids, where we want to live, what kind of life we want to build. We only talk about the next promotion, the next goal, the next achievement. Is that all we are? Just two ambitious people running parallel races?" You won't have a good answer. Because you'll realize she's right. Your entire relationship has been built on mutual respect for each other's ambition, but you've never talked about purpose, about meaning, about what you're building toward together. You're both climbing so fast you've never stopped to ask, "Where's the top? And what happens when we get there?" She'll leave. And you'll throw yourself even harder into work, because that's what you do when things hurt. You run faster, climb higher, achieve more. Anything to avoid sitting still with the uncomfortable questions. But the questions don't go away just because you're ignoring them. Here's what I wish I could make you understand. Slowing down isn't giving up. Questioning the path isn't weakness. And success that doesn't align with who you are and what you value isn't success, it's just expensive emptiness. You think you don't have time to figure out your purpose. You're in your 20s, this is when you're supposed to hustle, to build, to establish yourself. Purpose can wait until you're established, until you've made it, until you have the luxury of caring about meaning, but that's backwards. Purpose isn't something you get to after you've achieved everything else. Purpose is the foundation. Without it, all your achievements are just trophies in a game you didn't choose to play, and the longer you wait to ask the hard questions, the harder they become to ask. Because every year you invest in the wrong direction is another year of sunk costs, another year of lifestyle inflation, another year of identity wrapped up in a career that doesn't actually fit who you are. I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. I'm not saying ambition is bad or that wanting success makes you shallow. I'm saying, stop running long enough to ask yourself where you're going. And why. What problems do you care about solving? What kind of impact do you want to have? What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? Not what you achieved, but what you contributed. Who you were. These aren't abstract philosophical questions. They're the most practical questions you'll ever ask, because they determine everything else. Where you work, who you spend time with, how you define success, what trade-offs you're willing to make. Right now, you're making trade-offs you haven't examined. You're trading time with people you love for career advancement. You're trading your health for productivity. You're trading the possibility of finding work that matters for the security of work that pays well. And maybe some of those trade-offs make sense. But you should at least know you're making them. You should at least ask, what am I building here? And is it worth what I'm sacrificing to build it? There's a moment coming when you're 31. You'll be in the hospital, don't worry, you'll be fine, but you'll have this health scare that comes from stress, from burning too hard for too long, from treating your body like an obstacle to productivity rather than the vehicle you need to get anywhere. And lying in that hospital bed, unable to check your email, unable to work, unable to do anything but exist, you're going to have a moment of clarity. None of it matters. Not the promotion, not the title, not the deal you've been obsessing over. If you die tomorrow, the company will replace you by the end of the month. But your nephew will grow up without you. Your parents will lose their son. Your friends will lose someone who used to show up, back before you got too busy. That moment of clarity will fade. You'll get out of the hospital and slowly drift back into old patterns. But it'll plant a seed, that moment. A question that will grow until you can't ignore it anymore. What am I doing with my life? I wish I could tell you that you figure it out immediately, that you have some dramatic revelation and change everything overnight. But that's not how it works. Purpose isn't found in a flash of inspiration. It's excavated slowly, through trial and error, through paying attention to what energizes you and what drains you, through noticing what problems you can't stop thinking about, What work makes you lose track of time? It takes you years. Years of false starts and wrong turns, and slowly, painfully realizing that the life you've been building isn't the life you want to live. But eventually you get there. You find work that matters to you, that connects to something larger than your own advancement. And when you do, you realize this is what you were looking for. Not success. Meaning. Not achievement. Contribution. Not validation. Purpose. And here's the beautiful, frustrating truth: you could have started looking years earlier. You could have saved yourself so much time running in the wrong direction if you just stopped long enough to ask, is this the right direction? So that's what I'm asking you now, at 25, with your whole life ahead of you and your foot already on the accelerator. Slow down. Not forever. Not even for long. Just long enough to ask yourself, what do I actually care about? Not what I'm supposed to care about, not what would impress people, but what genuinely matters to me. What problems keep me up at night? What injustices do I notice that others seem to ignore? What kind of work makes me feel most alive? What kind of person do I want to become? Not what kind of title I want to have, but what kind of human being? Patient or impatient? Present or absent? Someone people can count on, or someone who's always too busy? If I died tomorrow, what would I regret not having done? Not achieved done? Not accomplished tried? These questions are uncomfortable. They don't have easy answers. And they might reveal that you're on the wrong path, which is terrifying when you've already invested so much. But I promise you, it's better to change course at 25 than at 45. It's better to question your direction before you've built a whole life on a foundation you don't believe in. Ambition is a tool. Purpose is a compass. Right now, you've got a powerful tool and no sense of direction. You're cutting through obstacles at incredible speed, but you have no idea if you're cutting toward anything worth reaching. Find your compass first. Then use your ambition to get there. The ladder you're climbing will still be there. The question is, will you choose a different wall? Chapter 3. Win. Finish strong with daily victories. You've done it. The timer on your lock-in session chimes, pulling you out of a state of deep focus. You've wrestled with your most important task and made tangible progress. The temptation now is to leap immediately into the rest of your day, to open the floodgates of email, to check your phone, to get on with the world's demands. To do so would be a critical mistake. It would be like a mountaineer climbing a treacherous peak and then immediately descending without ever stopping to look at the view. You would be abandoning the most crucial component of building a lasting habit. Most personal change systems fail for one simple reason: they neglect the reward. Decades of research, famously synthesized in Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit, show that every sustainable habit is built on a simple neurological loop. The cue, the trigger that initiates the behavior, e.g., your alarm clock. The routine, the behavior itself, your wake and lock-in rituals. The reward, the positive reinforcement that tells your brain the loop is worth remembering and repeating. You have already mastered the cue and the routine. But without a deliberately engineered reward, the entire structure is fragile. The win is not an optional add-on, it is the engine of consistency. It is the mechanism that closes the loop and trains your brain to crave the focus and discipline of the preceding hours. It transforms the hard work from a chore you have to do into a victory you get to achieve. This final, 5-minute ritual is what ensures you will show up to do it all again tomorrow. The neuroscience of momentum. Why is this final step so powerful? The answer lies in the chemistry of your brain. When you achieve a goal, and this is the critical part, consciously acknowledge it, your brain releases a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical. More accurately, it is the motivation chemical. It plays a central role in reward-motivated behavior. When you complete your lock-in session and take a moment to acknowledge your progress, you create a small dopamine spike. This does two things. It makes you feel good in the moment, and more importantly, it teaches your brain which behaviors to prioritize in the future. Your brain learns. That focused effort led to a feeling of accomplishment. Let's do that again. This isn't just theory. Harvard Business School professor Teresa Amabile conducted a rigorous study analyzing thousands of daily journal entries from hundreds of employees. Her team's discovery was profound. Of all the things that can boost emotions, motivation, and perceptions during a workday, the single most important is making progress in meaningful work. She calls this the progress principle. Small, consistent wins are the jet fuel of performance. The win ritual is your way of deliberately activating the progress principle every single day. On days when the rest of your schedule descends into chaos, you can stand on the bedrock of your morning win. You've already made meaningful progress. You've already moved the needle. This knowledge creates a psychological resilience that protects you from the draining feeling of being busy but not productive. By taking a moment to honor your small win, you are creating the very momentum that will carry you forward to bigger victories. How to win the 5-minute victory log. The win ritual should be simple, concrete, and immediate. It should take no more than 5 minutes and must be performed the moment your lock-in timer goes off. The most effective tool for this is a victory log. This can be a dedicated physical notebook, a specific note in an app like Evernote or Notion, or even a simple text file on your computer. The medium is less important than the consistency of the practice. Here is the 3-step process. Step 1. Write the date. Start a new entry with today's date. For example, Monday, July 28, 2025. This simple act creates a running chain of evidence, a visual representation of your commitment. Step 2. State the win. Be specific, in 1 or 2 clear sentences. Record what you accomplished during your lock-in. Do not be vague. Vague statements get vague results. Be a scientist reporting on data. Vague. I worked on my book. Specific win. I wrote 412 words for Chapter 4, focusing on the neuroscience of momentum. Vague. I planned my project. Specific win. I broke down the website launch project into 15 specific tasks and assigned deadlines for the top 3. Vague. I practiced my presentation. Specific win. I rehearsed the opening and closing statements of my sales presentation 5 times, timing myself with each run-through. Step 3. Add a feeling or reflection. Optional but powerful. After stating the objective win, add one subjective sentence about your experience. This anchors the positive emotion to the task. I feel incredibly focused and clear-headed. That was difficult to start, but I'm proud that I pushed through. This single session has removed a huge weight of procrastination. That's it. You have now objectified your progress and attached a positive emotional charge to it. You have closed the loop. Taming the inner critic. As you begin this practice, you will inevitably encounter an obstacle, your own inner critic. After a 75-minute session, you might log your win. Wrote 250 words, only to hear a voice in your head whisper, "That's it. You should have written 1,000. That's not a real win." This is the perfectionist mindset that sabotages progress. We must redefine what a win means in this framework. A win is not about reaching a certain word count, solving the entire problem, or finishing the whole project. A win is defined as honoring your commitment to the process. Did you follow your wake ritual? Did you eliminate distractions and work with singular focus on your MIT for the allotted time during your lock-in? If the answer is yes, you have won the day. Full stop. The outcome is secondary to the disciplined execution. The process is the prize. Your victory log is not a performance review. It is a consistency tracker. You are not celebrating the size of the brick. You are celebrating the fact that you showed up and laid another brick perfectly. When your inner critic appears, learn to reframe its attacks into evidence of victory. Critic, you only finished half of the task. Reframe. My win for today is completing a full 90-minute lock-in and making significant progress on a difficult task. Critic, you got distracted twice during your session. Reframe. My win for today is recognizing distractions and refocusing on my MIT for an entire 60-minute block. By celebrating the effort and the focus, the things you can directly control, you build a robust sense of self-efficacy that isn't dependent on external results. You are learning to keep promises to yourself, and there is no more powerful foundation for confidence. The unstoppable momentum of confidence. What happens after you follow this ritual for a week? You have a list of 7 specific, meaningful accomplishments. What happens after a month? You have a document with over 20 entries, a rich tapestry of your own consistency, resilience, and progress. What happens after a year? You have a library, a vault. You have undeniable, written proof that you are the kind of person who shows up and does the work. On days when motivation is low, when you feel like an imposter, or when you doubt your abilities, your victory log becomes your greatest weapon. It is not based on wishful thinking or rara affirmations. It is a historical record of your own execution. You can't argue with the evidence. This is the true source of unshakable confidence. Confidence is not a mindset you adopt. It is a result you earn. It is the byproduct of kept promises. The Wake, Lock-in, Win framework is a system for making and keeping a powerful promise to yourself every single day. The Win phase is what seals that promise and builds your identity as someone who executes. The daily ritual is now complete. You woke with purpose. You locked in on what matters most. You finished strong by claiming your victory. You have not just had a productive morning, you have reinforced who you are and who you are becoming. You have won the battle for the day before most people have even chosen their armor. Go forth and conquer the hours that remain. The hardest part is already behind you. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Chapter 4. The Science Behind the Ritual. By now, you have the what and the how. You have the 3 pillars of the daily ritual: wake, lock in, and win, and the practical steps to implement them. You may already be feeling the initial shifts in your energy, focus, and sense of accomplishment. But for this change to become a permanent part of your identity, it's crucial to understand the why. Why this specific sequence? Why these particular actions? Why does it feel so effective? The Wake, Lock-in, Win framework is not a random collection of productivity hacks or feel-good tips. It is a carefully engineered system designed to work with the fundamental principles of human biology and psychology, not against them. It is a system built upon the core architecture of how your body and brain are designed to perform at their best. This chapter takes you under the hood. We will move beyond the actions and explore the science that gives them their power. We will look at 3 key areas. Your body's internal clock, how the ritual aligns with your natural circadian rhythms to maximize energy and alertness. Your brain's fuel tank, how the system manages willpower, decision fatigue, and focus to enable deep work. Your habits blueprint, how the 3-part structure masterfully leverages the neurological loop of habit formation to make consistency feel effortless. Understanding this science will not only strengthen your resolve but will transform your view of the ritual, from something you do, to an intelligent expression of who you are. Riding the wave, circadian rhythms and the wake phase. Deep within your brain, located in the hypothalamus, is a cluster of nerve cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN. This is your body's master clock. It governs your circadian rhythm, the natural, internal 24-hour cycle that dictates your sleep-wake patterns, hormone release, and energy fluctuations. To live effectively, you must learn to ride the wave of this rhythm, not fight against its current. The wake ritual is designed to do exactly that. When you wake in the morning, your body is already initiating a complex series of events. Your core body temperature begins to rise, and your brain signals the release of cortisol, while often known as the stress hormone. In the morning, cortisol plays a vital role as a waking hormone, promoting alertness and mobilizing energy. The actions within the wake phase are designed to support and amplify these natural signals. Early morning light. The SCN's most powerful signal is light. When light, especially the blue spectrum found in daylight, hits your retinas, it sends a direct message to your master clock to suppress melatonin, the sleep hormone, and fully initiate the day phase. This is why a core part of the oxygenate step, such as stretching by a window or a brief walk outside, is so powerful. It sets your internal clock with Swiss precision. hydration and cellular function. After a night without water, your body is in a state of dehydration. This increases blood viscosity, forcing your cardiovascular system to work harder to deliver oxygen to your brain and muscles, leading to that feeling of sluggishness. The immediate hydration from your ritual provides your cells with the fluid they need for efficient energy production, directly combating brain fog. Movement and blood flow. The light movement prescribed in the ritual, whether stretching or jumping jacks, increases your heart rate and boosts blood flow to the brain. This delivers a fresh supply of oxygen and glucose, the primary fuel for your neurons, effectively clearing out the final remnants of sleep inertia and priming your mind for the cognitive demands ahead. The wake ritual is not about forcing your body into action. It is about intelligently collaborating with its natural, time-tested process for generating daytime energy. The willpower fallacy and the power of the lock-in. For decades, we've been told that success is a matter of brute force willpower, that high achievers simply have more of it. Modern psychology presents a more nuanced view. Our capacity for executive function, which includes making complex decisions, focusing our attention, and inhibiting impulses, is a finite resource. Think of it as a mental fuel tank. This phenomenon is often called decision fatigue. Every choice you make, no matter how small, sips from this tank. Should I hit snooze? A sip. What should I wear? A sip. Which emails should I open first? A bigger sip. The average person arrives at 9 a.m. having made dozens of trivial decisions, their cognitive tank already running low before they've even approached their most important work. The wake, lock-in, win system is a masterclass in fuel conservation. The wake ritual is automated, no decisions needed. Your most important task, MIT, was chosen the night before. The most critical decision of the day is already made. You therefore arrive at your lock-in session with a full tank of cognitive fuel, ready to pour it entirely into the work that matters. This is your strategic advantage. Furthermore, the lock-in itself is a workout for your brain. When you engage in deep work, by focusing on a single task without distraction, you encourage a process called myelination. Myelin is a fatty sheath that insulates the neural pathways in your brain. The more you fire a specific circuit, e.g., the one for writing code, or playing piano, or crafting a legal argument, the more myelin your brain wraps around it. This insulation makes the signal travel faster and more efficiently. Single-tasking builds superhighways in your brain. Multitasking, with its constant context switching, is like trying to build a dozen dirt roads at once. Nothing ever gets properly paved. Your daily lock-in is not just about producing work. It's about physically upgrading your brain's capacity to do that work in the future. Closing the loop, the habit science of the win. This brings us to the linchpin of the entire system, the win. To understand its non-negotiable importance, we must look at the neuroscience of how habits are formed. Your brain is a prediction and automation machine. It is always looking for ways to conserve energy by turning conscious actions into unconscious routines. This process is governed by a part of your brain called the basal ganglia, and it operates on the cue routine reward loop. Cue, the trigger. Routine, the action. Reward, the payoff. Here is the secret. Your brain doesn't actually form a habit because it loves the routine. It forms a habit because it learns to anticipate the reward. The reward is what tells the brain, "Hey, that whole sequence was worth it. Let's carve that into a permanent loop." When you perform the wake and lock-in rituals, that is the hard work. It's the routine. When you finish and immediately jump into your day, you rob your brain of a clear, immediate reward. Without the reward, the loop is broken. The habit is weak. The win phase through the 5-minute victory log is the act of deliberately creating a powerful, immediate reward. When you take a moment to record your specific accomplishment, you trigger a release of dopamine. This dopamine hit serves as a powerful neurological signal that effectively tells your brain. The effort of waking up early and focusing intently led directly to this feeling of progress and accomplishment. This is a valuable loop. Save it. Make it automatic. This is why people who struggle to build habits often fail. They focus all their energy on the routine, the hard part, without consciously designing the reward, the reinforcing part. The win phase ensures that your brain not only understands the routine but begins to actively crave it in anticipation of the reward. It's the neurological glue that holds the entire system together. The paradox of freedom: why structure sets you free. A common objection to a disciplined daily ritual is the fear that it will stifle creativity, spontaneity, and freedom. "I'm not a robot," people say. "I need to be able to go with the flow." This is a fundamental misunderstanding of freedom. The science and psychology of peak performance show us the opposite is true. Disciplined structure in one area of your life creates more freedom in all other areas. Think of a world-class jazz pianist. Their ability to improvise with breathtaking creativity is not born from chaos. It is born from thousands of hours spent mastering the rigid structure of scales, chords, and music theory. The structure doesn't limit them. It becomes the foundation from which their freedom and creativity can soar. The wake. Lock in. Win. Ritual is your scale and chord practice for a life well lived. By creating a non-negotiable structure around your health, focus, and most important work, you automate your progress on the things that matter most. This has a profound psychological effect. You are no longer burdened by the low-grade, persistent anxiety that comes from procrastination. You are no longer mentally cluttered by an unstructured, reactive day. By 9 a.m., you have already secured a win. You have made meaningful progress. This frees you. The rest of your day is now a canvas for presence and spontaneity. You can engage more fully in meetings, be more present with your family, and pursue creative ideas with a clear mind because you aren't haunted by the nagging feeling that you should be doing something else. The ritual is not a cage, it is a launch pad. It is the application of science-backed principles to create a reliable system that handles the fundamentals of high performance. It is the ultimate expression of intentional living, building a life not by chance, but by design. Chapter 5: Customizing your wake. Lock in. Win. Routine. You now possess the blueprint for the wake. Lock in. Win. Ritual. You understand the how behind the steps and the why behind the science. At this point, a natural thought may arise. This sounds great for a disciplined morning person with a predictable schedule. But my life isn't like that. I have kids. I work a night shift. My schedule is chaotic. This is a critical and valid point. If this system were a rigid, one-size-fits-all dogma, it would fail for most people. Let this chapter be your official permission to adapt. The goal is not to perfectly replicate a template from a book. The goal is to become an architect of your own high-performance life. To do this, you must distinguish between the system's core principles, which are non-negotiable, and its methods, which are infinitely flexible. Let's revisit the core principles. The principle of wake, to intentionally prime your mind and body for the day. This is the non-negotiable. What? Whether you do it at 5 a.m. or 10 a.m., with a 5-minute or a 30-minute routine, is the flexible. How? The principle of lock-in, to protect a block of time for distraction-free deep work on your most important task. This is the non-negotiable. What? Whether that block is 60 minutes first thing in the morning or 90 minutes late at night is the flexible. How? The principle of win, to consciously acknowledge your progress to reinforce the habit loop. This is the non-negotiable. What? Whether you log it in a leather-bound journal or a simple note on your phone is the flexible. How? This framework is not a cage, it is a toolkit. Your job is not to force your life to fit the system. Your job is to make the system fit your life. Chapter 6: Staying consistent when motivation fades. There is a truth you must accept if you are to succeed in the long run. Motivation will abandon you. It is a fickle, fleeting emotion. It arrives in a great surge of inspiration after reading a book like this or watching a powerful video. But it does not last. It is a spark, not a sustainable flame. Relying on motivation to fuel your daily ritual is like relying on a lightning strike to power your home. This is where so many people fail. They wait until they feel like it. Amateurs act when they are motivated. Professionals act according to their system. The wake. Lock in. Win. Ritual is your system. Your success depends on your ability to honor the system even when, especially when, you don't feel like it. This is the definition of discipline. Discipline is not a punishment or a joyless grind. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is the act of honoring the promise you made to your future self, even when your present self is tired, bored, or uninspired. On the days when the friction feels immense, when the warmth of your bed feels infinitely more appealing than the cold floor, you must shrink the commitment. Use the 2-minute rule. The rule is simple. You don't have to finish, but you have to start. You don't have to complete your full 20-minute wake ritual, but you have to get up and drink your glass of water. 2 minutes. You don't have to complete a 90-minute lock-in, but you have to open the document and work for just 2 minutes. You don't have to write a poetic win entry, but you have to open your log and write 1 sentence. More often than not, the simple act of starting dissolves the resistance. Action creates momentum, and momentum generates its own motivation. Trust the system, not the feeling. The inevitability of failure and the speed of recovery. Let's be perfectly clear, you are going to miss a day. You will oversleep. You will get sick. A family emergency will arise. A day will come where the entire ritual falls apart. This is not a moral failing. It is not a catastrophe. It is an inevitable part of being human. Your long-term success is not defined by an unbroken, perfect chain of victories. It is defined by your speed of recovery. The amateur, upon missing a day, declares the entire endeavor a failure and quits. The professional understands that the only day that truly matters is the next one. This leads us to the most important rule for long-term consistency: never miss twice. Missing one day is an accident. Missing 2 days in a row is the beginning of a new, undesirable habit. The entire focus after a stumble is to get back on your feet the very next day. Here is a simple, reset ritual to use when this happens. Acknowledge without judgment. Look yesterday's failure in the eye and let it go. Say to yourself, "Yesterday didn't go to plan. It happens. Today is a new day." Avoid shame and self-criticism. They are useless baggage. Analyze for data, 60 seconds briefly. What was the cause? Did you stay up too late doom scrolling? Did you forget to choose your MIT the night before? Identify the cause, not to beat yourself up, but to gather data for next time. Recommit verbally. State your intention for today. I am getting back on track with my ritual today. Saying it out loud makes it more concrete than letting it float around in your head. Execute imperfectly. Today's goal is simply to get a win on the board. Don't aim for perfection. A scaled-down version is fine. A 10-minute wake, a 30-minute lock-in, a 1-minute win. Just do it. Re-establish the pattern. Restart the chain. Remember, perfection is not the goal. Persistence is. Forging your accountability shield. Going it alone is noble, but it's also unnecessarily difficult. In the battle against entropy and old habits, accountability is your most powerful ally. A system of accountability makes you exponentially more likely to follow through when your internal motivation wanes. Choose a level of accountability that works for you. Level 1. Internal accountability. This is you against you. Your victory log is a primary tool here. The desire to not see a blank page can be a powerful motivator. You can also use habit tracking apps, like Streaks, Habitica, or a simple calendar with X's, to visualize your consistency and create a chain you don't want to break. Level 2. Passive social accountability. This involves simply stating your intention to others. Tell a spouse, friend, or mentor, "I'm committing to this WLW ritual every weekday for the next 30 days. You haven't asked them to do anything, but now your goal exists outside of your own head. The subtle social pressure of not wanting to admit you gave up can be incredibly effective. Level 3. Active social accountability. Find an accountability partner. This is someone with whom you actively check in. It can be a fellow reader of this book or a friend with their own goals. The system is simple: a daily text message sent upon completion. Knowing that someone is expecting your text is often the push you need to get out of bed on a difficult day. Level 4. Stakes-based accountability. For those who respond best to high stakes, you can put something on the line. This could be a friendly wager with a friend. If I miss more than 2 days this month, I owe you $50. Or you can use a service which allows you to set a goal and pledge money that you will lose if you fail to meet it. Ultimately, this entire ritual is an act of building self-trust. Each day you complete the loop, you cast a vote for a new identity. I am the kind of person who honors my commitments. I am the kind of person who does what they say they will do. This identity, forged in the quiet consistency of your daily ritual, is the ultimate win. Chapter 7. Scaling your daily wins into long-term success. You have now learned the mechanics of winning the day. You have the wake ritual to prime your system, the lock-in to make progress, and the win to build momentum. But this system is designed for something far greater than just having a series of productive mornings. Its true power lies in the unrelenting force of the compound effect. We briefly touched on this in the introduction, but it is worth revisiting now that you understand the engine that drives it. If you improve by just 1% each day, a small, almost unnoticeable increment, you will be nearly 38 times better in a year. This mathematical certainty is the hidden force behind all extraordinary achievement. Your daily wake. Lock-in. Win. Ritual is your mechanism for guaranteeing that 1% improvement. Each completed ritual is a deposit into the bank of your future self. For the first week, the returns are small. For the first month, they are modest. But over the course of a year, and then 3, and then 5, the interest on these daily deposits compounds into a fortune of skill, confidence, and accomplishment that is unrecognizable from its starting point. Think of it like planting a tree. For the first year, you water a small sapling and see little change. All the critical work is happening unseen, in the roots, as they anchor themselves deep in the soil. An impatient observer would see no progress. But you, the patient gardener, continue to tend to it daily. In time, that sapling grows into a mighty oak, providing shade, shelter, and a testament to the power of small, consistent actions. Your daily ritual is that act of watering. Your long-term goals are the oak tree. Applying the framework to life's arenas. The WLW framework is a universal vehicle for progress. The direction it travels is determined entirely by the target you choose for your lock-in session. By deliberately choosing your most important task, MIT, you can channel this powerful engine of focus toward any major area of your life. For your career and finances, your lock-in session becomes your secret weapon for professional growth. While others are lost in reactive email, you are making deep progress. MIT examples. Master a new software skill for 75 minutes, draft a strategic plan for the Q4 project, spend 60 minutes prospecting for new clients, analyze my personal budget, and identify 3 areas for improvement. Compounded result. You become the expert, the indispensable team member, the savvy investor. You earn promotions, build a business, and achieve financial security not through one heroic effort, but through daily, focused execution. For your health and fitness, your physical well-being can be the direct target of your ritual. MIT examples. Complete a 45-minute high-intensity interval workout, spend 60 minutes doing healthy meal prep for the next 3 days, go for a 5K run, research and design a sustainable strength training program. Compounded result. You build strength, endurance, and vitality. You forge not just a healthier body, but the identity of a person who prioritizes their well-being, one workout, one healthy meal at a time. For your mind and relationships, the deepest parts of your life can also be nurtured within the lock-in. MIT examples. Journal for 30 minutes on a specific personal challenge, read a chapter of a challenging philosophy book and write a 1-page summary, spend 45 minutes learning a new language, write a long, thoughtful letter to a friend or family member. Compounded result. You cultivate wisdom, self-awareness, and deeper connections. You grow not just your skills, but your soul. The lock-in is your golden hour. Where you point that hour, day after day, is where your life will inevitably transform. From daily habits to lifelong transformation. Ultimately, this journey is about more than just achieving goals. It is about forging your identity. There is a profound psychological shift that occurs when you maintain this ritual over time. You stop seeing it as something you do, and you start seeing it as a reflection of who you are. You don't just write every morning, you become a writer. You don't just work out, you become an athlete. You don't just code or strategize, you become a builder, a leader, a creator. Your daily victory log becomes the accumulating evidence that proves this new identity to yourself. The system builds an unshakable foundation of self-trust. You know, with certainty, that you are someone who can rely on themselves to show up and do the work. This creates a powerful psychological resilience. Life will inevitably throw chaos and setbacks your way. But because you begin every day by securing a win and proving your own capability, you no longer operate from a place of anxiety or deficit. You face the world from a position of strength, grounded in the quiet confidence of your daily discipline. The wake, lock-in, win ritual is your starting block. It is the mechanism, the launch pad, the daily vote you cast for a life of excellence. The patterns you forge in the stillness of the morning will echo throughout your days and eventually compose the masterpiece of your life. The goal was never just to win the day. It was to build a life of purpose on purpose. The daily habit is simply the most reliable path to that lifelong reality. Chapter 8. Living with intention beyond the day. You have mastered the art of starting strong. You have a system for winning the morning and making progress on what matters most. But a day won only in the morning is an incomplete victory. A common pitfall for the newly productive is to have a phenomenal, focused morning, only to let the rest of the day devolve into a chaotic whirlwind, ending in a state of exhaustion, anxiety, and mindless phone scrolling late into the night. This kind of evening not only robs you of peace of mind but actively sabotages the success of the following morning. To make this a truly lifelong system, we must bookend our day with intention. A successful tomorrow begins with a peaceful, purposeful evening tonight. The goal of an evening ritual is the polar opposite of the morning's. It is not about activation and energy. It is about decompression and reflection. It is not about preparing for a sprint, but about beginning a restorative cooldown. It is the final, crucial step in creating a virtuous cycle where each day builds positively on the last. By ending your day as strongly and intentionally as you began it, you give yourself the gifts of peace, clarity, and the deep, restorative rest required to do it all again. The reflect, prepare, rest evening shutdown. Just like our morning ritual, the evening shutdown should be simple, brief, and powerful. It's a 15 to 20 minute sequence that signals to your mind and body that the workday is over and it is time to wind down. 1. Reflect 5 minutes. This is the moment to process the day and harvest its wisdom. Sit with your victory log or a journal and ask 2 simple questions. What went well today? This isn't just about your MIT. It could be a positive interaction, a moment of patience, or a small kindness. This practice cultivates gratitude and trains your brain to seek out the positive. What did I learn today? This is not about dwelling on failures. It is about extracting lessons. Perhaps you learned that a certain meeting was a waste of time, or that you felt better when you took a walking break. This transforms every experience, good or bad, into a source of growth. 2. Prepare 5 minutes. This is the ultimate gift to your future self. You are strategically removing friction from tomorrow morning, making success the path of least resistance. Choose tomorrow's MIT. Look at your goals and calendar, and decide on the single most important task for tomorrow's lock-in session. Write it down where you will see it in the morning. Set up your environment. Lay out your workout clothes. Put a glass of water on your nightstand. Tidy your workspace. Each small act of preparation is a vote of confidence in the person you will be tomorrow. 3. Rest 15+ minutes. This is the most critical step for your health and well-being. You must create a buffer between the stimulation of the day and the restoration of sleep. The one cardinal rule for this phase is, no screens for at least 30 minutes before bed. The blue light emitted by phones, tablets, and TVs suppresses melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep, leading to poorer rest. Screen-free activities. Read a physical book. Fiction is excellent for escapism. Listen to calming music, an audiobook, or a podcast. Do some light stretching. Meditate. Talk with your partner about your days. The full circle of intentional living. With the addition of an evening shutdown, the wake, lock in, win ritual evolves from a powerful morning routine into a complete, 24-hour system for intentional living. Notice the beautiful symmetry of the cycle you have built. In the evening, you thoughtfully prepare for the day to come. In the morning, you prime your system for peak performance, wake. In your golden hour, you make meaningful progress, lock in. After your session, you praise your disciplined effort, win. At day's end, you process the day's events and lessons, reflect. This is a virtuous cycle. A restful evening makes a focused morning effortless. A focused morning creates a productive day free from the anxiety of procrastination. A productive day makes for a peaceful evening, filled with a sense of accomplishment rather than regret. Each part reinforces the others. This is the end of this book, but it is the beginning of your journey. The principles, tools, and systems are now yours. The invitation is to move from reading to doing, from learning to living. Your days are no longer a series of random events, but a canvas for your intention. Your life is no longer something that happens to you, but something you build, one solid, well-lived day at a time. Your day is bookended by purpose. Your life is built on intention. Begin. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more audiobook. Make every day matter. We began this journey together in the familiar chaos of a reactive morning, a day lost to distraction before it had even truly begun. We were adrift in a sea of other people's agendas, pulled under by the currents of digital noise and mounting anxiety. Now you stand on solid ground. You possess a simple, powerful, and elegant system for taking command of your day, your focus, and ultimately your life. You have the blueprint. Let's recap the path one final time. It begins in the evening, where you intentionally close the loop on the day through reflection and prepare the ground for tomorrow's success. You choose your target. Then you wake. Not by accident, but with purpose. You prime your mind and body, rising with a quiet energy that the world cannot steal. You lock in. In a fortress of your own making, you go to war for your deepest goals, making tangible, meaningful progress while others are still scrolling. And you win. You consciously acknowledge your victory, no matter how small, creating a neurological reward that builds an unbreakable chain of momentum. This is the rhythm. Evening to morning. Preparation to execution. Action to victory. This is the cycle that turns ordinary days into the building blocks of an extraordinary life. Do not be fooled by its simplicity. The most profound truths often are simple. The secret to changing your life is not found in a massive, one-time effort, but in the quiet discipline of a well-designed day, repeated over and over again. You have read the words. You understand the science. You have seen the path laid out before you. Now only one thing remains, a choice. Tomorrow morning your alarm will ring. Two paths will diverge in the quiet of your room. One is the familiar, well-trodden path of reaction, the snooze button, the glowing screen, the immediate surrender of your attention. The other is the path of intention, the one you now know by heart. It requires a small measure of discipline, but it leads to a destination of pride, progress, and peace of mind. No book can make that choice for you. The knowledge is easy, the execution is what matters. So, this is the final call to action. It is not to start next month, next week, or when the time feels right. That time will never come. Start tomorrow. Execute the ritual, however imperfectly. Wake. Lock in. Win. Get one victory in your log. Then, the next day, do it again. And the day after that, do it again. This is how transformation happens. Not in a flash of insight, but in the steady, unassuming, relentless rhythm of daily execution. You do not need to worry about winning the year. You do not need to stress about winning the month. Your only task is to win tomorrow. Your future is not built in the future. It is built now. It is built in the quiet moments of choice that make up each day. It is built in the promise you make to yourself tonight and keep to yourself tomorrow morning. Your legacy is not written in a lifetime. It is written in a day, and then another, and another. Now go build.